You're watching IGN at Comic-Con. We just got a brand new trailer for the upcoming survival horror movie Resident Evil from acclaimed director Zack Cregger, and it has us so excited. Here to help break down exactly why it looks so good are my resident peoples, Max Scoville and Nick Lamone. Welcome, strangers.
Resident Evil. What are you buying?
I am buying tickets for this movie because it looks incredible. This was our second trailer for the Resident Evil movie. Had a bit of overlap with stuff from the first trailer, but it's given us a much better look exactly how this thing is going to play out. So what we know so far is this is a horror movie from the director of Weapons and Barbarian, two movies I absolutely love. It is a new take on the Resident Evil series, so no continuity with the original movies. Some overlap with the games, but it's largely telling a story of something that could theoretically happen adjacent to the events of Resident Evil 2 in Raccoon City, with some new creative liberties. Obviously, it's taking place in modern times. We've got cell phones, we've got new cars, and it's snowing like it never did in the games. But what I love about this trailer specifically is we got a bunch of cool little things. We've got our first aid kit, we've got the shotgun, we got to see typewriter and bullet cases. We'll get a look at the shells, and the box art looks, on the shotgun shells looks exactly like it does in the game. I'm really excited for this one, you guys.
Okay, so Cregger has said, this is not adapting an existing story. This is telling a new story in that sandbox. Obviously, he's going to take some liberties. The snow thing, people really hung up on that. I feel like it's kind of a cool mechanic because one of the things we see in the trailer is it's the trail of breadcrumbs that leads this character in here. Like, he sees footprints and blood in the snow, and he follows it, which also kind of reminds me of the beginning of Village. Like, you're just kind of going into the woods. But yeah, I love that it's, this guy knows the games. He plays them, he gets it, and he's making a game that is not adapting an existing story. It is trying to capture the experience of playing one of these games. And I think this trailer does a really good job of establishing that better than the previous one did. This has a very clear progression where you see him getting the shotgun, then he's got to look for ammo, and he's engaging with the environment in the same way that you do in those games. He opens a drawer right there, and he finds, there it is, there's the shotgun shells.
Shotgun shells. And I think that's what makes this a smart adaptation in that regard. Is it is not just taking a one-to-one recreation of a story we've already seen and played through at least 2 different times at this point. It is instead modernizing and taking what, we've never seen the incident at Raccoon City in a film setting at this point. So who's to say that doesn't happen in, modern era? There's nothing that explicitly ties it to 1998 that is integral to the story. And again, I think Cregger is doing the elegant thing of showing that he knows ball by saying, hey, look, the first weapon he finds, it's the shotgun. It always has to be the shotgun. And you do see the desperation on Austin Abrams' character. I think his name's Brian, actually. That desperation on his face as he's clawing and crawling all around the little house that he finds in the woods. And you see, I've been in that situation before. And that's it's so clever and so smart of showcasing not the scene we've seen before, but we've all felt that way before, and I think that's the cleverness of the adaptation.
I like this where he's actually fumbling with his inventory, he's trying to find enough from in his pockets for the shotgun shells, and there's that scramble, something is coming towards you while you're in a spot, and you're got to get your you're fumbling. That's so much of that is the thrill of the games. There's that panic. There's also a glimpse of some creature that we haven't seen before. We got a few kind of monsters that got shown off in the previous one, which I'm excited that we're getting a tease of that without seeing what they are. This is going to be a short movie. This is going to be a 90-minute movie.
I think that's one of my favorite things about it, right? Because it reminds me of speed running a classic Resident Evil game, and you kind of know exactly what you're doing, but at the same time, it's full of surprises. And I think that this is taking a lot of ideas from the sort of philosophy behind some of the modern Resident Evil games, right? He's introducing new creatures and monsters, which if you've played Requiem, the first time you saw a big chunk coming down the hallway, and you're like, what the hell is this? That knocked you on your ass. And I want that in movie form. We've also got a protagonist who is unprepared, but is slowly becoming more capable. And I feel like that mirrors a lot of things that we saw in protagonists like Ethan Grace. And Grace this year in Requiem, where, she's literally falling down at the beginning of the game, but by the end of the game, she's got a gun. It's, she's blowing off some heads of some zombies and stuff like that, and she's throwing down.
Well, yeah, you got to have someone who's, a fish out of water. They're not in their element, and that's what made Grace such a good protagonist, juxtaposed with someone like Leon, because people were like, "Where's Leon in this movie?" It's if Leon's in this movie, this isn't a horror movie. It turns into an action thriller at that point. Having someone who is incapable helps build that tension and suspense, and I think that's such a smart move.
Yeah, I agree, and not to diss like where some of the older Resident Evil live-action movies went, but those characters were kind of OP by the end, and they very much left the source material behind.
Anybody who's mad that Leon's not in this, they can go take it up with Paul W.S. Anderson, because Leon was in like the fifth one of those, and for one movie, and just like he made like one appearance. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Also, like, people can replay Resident Evil 2 and RE2 remake, and again, this is to tie it back to Requiem. Some of the marketing leading up to Requiem, they produced a short film that was a commercial that's showcasing what was happening in Raccoon City from a mother and the daughter's perspective.
Yeah.
And that was like a delightful little 2-minute short film that was also a commercial for the game. That's like, I want more stories like that. Let me see the perspective of normies in Raccoon City and see how they dealt with it. Will we hear echoes of Nemesis in the background yelling stars? Who knows? But I like that. I don't know, it's got my brain sparking and excited at all the possibilities.
It's interesting. We're kind of in the age of finally getting good video game adaptations, but I think adapting a video game well really depends on what is the game, what is the appeal, and The Last of Us, the first season anyway, that it nailed that because so much of that game hinges on character dynamics, and they got the characters right. Fallout, so much of that world works because of the world itself and how you engage, the creatures and the kind of general aesthetics, and the Fallout show works because of that. Resident Evil, so much of it is about the unknown and about not knowing what you're getting into, and it's about getting scared, and there are certain, kind of beloved mechanics and elements. And again, I love Leon Kennedy, but we've seen him done so well in the games that I feel like if you even do it slightly off from what you want to see, it's just going to be worse than having it not at all. So instead, we're getting something completely unknown, which, remember, leading up to Requiem, everyone's like, where's Leon? Where's Leon? And then, Leon's a big part of the game. He's like more than half the game. They finally gave it to us, but like that unknown, that intrigue, that was great. And I think the only reason that Requiem was able to work as well as it did as a game is because Capcom had earned back fans' trust.
I agree.
When you're marketing a video game, it's reasonable to be concerned if you get a trailer that shows you nothing. With a movie and the trailer shows you nothing, a lot of times that's for the best because that means more of the movie will come as a surprise to you, especially in the case of horror.
No, it's a huge pet peeve of mine when a movie trailer spoils everything, and that's why I think this movie trailer is perfect for this game, because it is showing us some familiar elements and some brand new stuff, right? We've seen across both trailers now, Zack Cregger has shown us settings like a house, a hospital, a sewer, like these are a street, right? These are all things that have taken place in Resident Evil games. We don't know where this is going. We know it's 90 minutes. It's allegedly has this sort of like Mad Max energy to it, where you step on the gas at the beginning and it never lets go. So this is just going to be this, kind of domino rally effect, this Rube Goldberg machine, where once the ball starts rolling, it doesn't stop until it reaches the end. And we don't know how this movie is going to end. We know that Zack Cregger has, across Barbarian and Weapons, shocked us in hilarious ways, in crazy ways, watching those movies and going in sort of as blind as possible and having these moments where it just knocks you on your ass because you weren't expecting it. That's what I want from this movie, and I know we're gonna get it.
Anybody who's on the fence about this and hasn't seen Barbarian and Weapons, I implore you, please go watch those. But more importantly, watch the trailer for Barbarian and then watch Barbarian, because the amount of restraint with what that trailer straight up didn't show from that movie is really cool. And it's like there's a sleight of hand that comes with marketing something like this.
Yeah.
And I think tying this back to, Cregger as a storyteller, and also he kind of feels like a little bit like a game developer at this point, or at least a map planner, because one of the things that's so clever about something like Weapons is he does such a good job at playing fair with the audience of mapping out different key locations in a way that feels organic to the film.
Yep.
I'm thinking specifically of a scene in Weapons where our alcoholic main character is going through the rounds of basically sleepwalking through a liquor store, and she's grabbing a drink or whatever, and that comes to pay off later in the film where we see an encounter in there, and we already know as an audience what the layout of this particular store is. And so that's what we're seeing here with something like our character going through the mansion and scrambling for ammo. It's like he's playing level designer at that point.
Exactly.
It's really fun.
You know what? I want to give a shout out to the hardcore Resident Evil fans out there, because you guys are amazing. I have seen the sort of discourse change on this film, and there was a lot of doubters for the first trailer, and the second one now, people are on board. They're excited. They know what they're getting from this movie, and that's going to be full of surprise and a little bit of familiarity. So, Zack Cregger is going to be on our Comic-Con live show this weekend. I'm really excited to talk to him, along with Austin Abrams, the star of the film. And there's also a panel for this movie at Comic-Con this weekend. So, spoilers will be unveiled, hopefully not too much. And the movie is out September 18th. So we're not even that far from it. But until then, we have tons more Comic-Con coming up right here ahead on IGN, so don't go anywhere.